Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our week 2 of group stages Anarchy analysis matchup. We're covering the LPL versus the LCK as it's JD Gaming taking on Damwon Gaming. This is going to be a very explosive matchup after Damwon took down JD in week 1. Will we see a repeat or will the reverse win come for JD? Only time will tell, as we are going to be breaking down a team fight in this game. But without further ado, let's get the DJ spinning the tracks as we load into Champion Select. We load up into draft with JD on the blue side, Damwon on red, and we kick off these bans with the Akali being removed off the board by JD Gaming. Now, this is a big ban, as this is a big assassin mid laner that hasn't seen too much play in Worlds. Though it is very powerful, it has a lot of burst and execute. Obviously, it's a pick that Showmaker could go towards, though he probably won't be able to get that at all in Worlds this year. As for Damwon's first ban, it is going to be Lucian. Big ban as a whole, it's been a very powerful pick. It's got almost a 100% win rate coming into the last day of groups, and it also is very useful. It has a lot of harassment in lane. It's a very strong AD mid laner, probably the best. Then you've got the likes of a Jace and even a Pantheon if you want to go for that in the mid lane. And the big thing about Lucian that teams like about it, it means that you can go towards these AP junglers like the Lilia, like the Evelynn, so that you have that duality of damage that basically is very hard to deal with. Now, obviously, that gets removed, and what you know, the Pantheon is the removal from JD. And I like this, it's a very strong playmaking support that technically can be flexed to jungle on the top side, but it's been seen in the support role recently, and I like it as a whole. Being banned out here makes a lot of sense. Caitlyn removed off the board by Damwon as their second ban. Makes sense, siege heavy ADC that gets removed pretty much all the time in pro play. Has a lot of damage in that kit, landing them headshots, it means that she just pumps out the damage, can siege very nicely into turrets, and with the trap line that she can set up, it makes it a very hard job for teams to engage onto objectives because you can zone them away with the line of damage. As for the last ban from JD, it's going to be Nidalee. Moving an AP jungler from the field makes a lot of sense to me because this pick as a whole is very strong. It also has a lot of combinations with the Renekton if the Damwon squad went towards that pick, and Nogri is known for his very strong Renekton play, though it is highly unlikely it gets picked up here considering the Nidalee, the champ that goes usually along with it, has been removed. Obviously you land spear the further you're out, and with a stun champion in the top lane, it's very easy to obviously land that spear and do chunks of damage. As for the last ban from Damwon, what do you know, it's the Renekton. They ban it out themselves, they're just removing the champ that can do a lot of work in the top lane. It's a very safe top pick. It's kind of become the new safe top blind pick champion that teams go towards. Though obviously with it being removed, it means that the priority of top laners kind of drops here, as you've only realistically got, say, the Volibear, the Camille, and even a Set to an extent. There is the Ornn as well. Ornn being a very strong top laner, it's still available to either side. As for what they take, who knows? But we're going to find out that in a second. So we kick off the first pick phase with JD Gaming picking up the Camille. That's kind of a sign to how they want to play this game. They're picking up a top lane carry, high amount of flank potential with the hookshot to get over the walls, as well as lock up targets with the Hextech Ultimatum. Very strong pick that does go in conjunction with quite a few mid lane options for JD that they can go towards. You can pair it with an Ori, have a bull delivery system, you can pair it with a TF to go with the Destiny so you can chase down and lock up targets. There's also the Galio as an option, so that you can lock them up in the hexacle, mate them, and then the grandest of entrances coming in, or the heroic entrance from Galio comes in over the top of the hexacle, mate them, to lock down the targets and kill them. So many options for JD Gaming here in terms of how they want to play this, though we do see Damwon locking in possibly their top and their jungle in the Set and the Graves. Now Set can be flexed around the map quite heavily. It can be put in top lane, be very safe. Obviously you tend to go towards the Blade of Rune King, and especially into a Camille you can build that with a bit more easy build. Damage in top, jungle, or in the support role you build, or in mid as well, you tend to build it a bit more tanky, go Barmy, Cinder, Deadman's Plate, and survive the bursts that the enemy team goes for. But it's probably going to the support role, as the Graves was locked in straight after the Set. Graves obviously very strong in terms of clear rate, hard carrying jungle, who can do a lot of work. Obviously that shotgun does a lot of damage close range, and he has a lot of burst with the end of the line and the collateral damage of his ultimate. Now the response from that JD is to go with their mid and their jungle, and they go quite AP heavy here. They go with the TF, so that is the option that I suggested earlier with the Destiny being able to control the map, and that is a huge pick for JD because they're probably putting more emphasis on the split push meta as well as trying to control the positioning of Damwon. And I like this style because Damwon is a team that wants to also control the map. That's their sort of style, and then look to teamfight you later into the game. So if you don't give them the option to teamfight, you should be realistically winning this game out if you're JD. And the interesting thing is they lock in the Lilia right next to the TF, and I'm okay with this pick. It makes sense to go for a scaling jungler if you've got quite low scaling mid laners, and I guess an alright scaling Camille. Gonna have a bit of a struggle into the Set though, so the scaling may be slanted, it may be stalled out, but obviously the Lilia is gonna have a bit more of an easy time going for invades early on to get the advantage for herself and threaten the lanes. And for me, I honestly would prefer the Evelynn or an Elise. I know Elise has dropped down in priority quite a lot coming into this season, and I would say that the Evelynn would be quite useful for me because you've got a bit more pick potential than the hoping for the Saucy to land and then putting some sort of lilting lullaby. Now obviously the Evelynn could have gone for a Scholastic Execute into the charm, and then basically using hate spikes to kill the target through that way, but obviously we're not going to see that. And the last pick of this first phase is going over to Damwon, and they're kind of going to match the roam game that the JD squad's gone for, and they're going for the other pick that I suggested for JD to go with in the Galio. Now as a whole, Galio is going to have a hard time dealing with TF in lane. Obviously you're looking to pick it as a response to the roam game that JD's going for, so that's the sort of counter to why you'd go for it. But as a whole, in lane it's going to struggle to clear it out. Obviously you're going to have to be hoping for the Winds of War and the heroic punch to clear out the wave quite quickly. But as I say, it's going to struggle as a melee champion into the TF to clear out a lot of this CS, and it's probably going to be forced under his turret quite early into this game. Loading into our second ban phase here, expect bans going towards this bot lane. Obviously neither ADC is locked in, and potentially only one support's been locked in. Obviously you look at this Damwon side, they've technically got that flex of the top lane pick or the support, so realistically, you could see a couple of support bans here from JD, though it's highly unlikely they go all in on that route because they can just flex set down there. So here's the first ban, it's Yezreal. Now that's a very safe option to remove off the board. So you throw out the Mystic Shocks, you go pew pew pew. You have the Arcane Shift, which is a secondary flash, and you have a lot of safety in lane, and that is a good option if you were JD, because Damwon technically are going very aggressive with their picks. You've got two hard carrying champs in the set and the Graves being locked in already, so going down this route makes a lot of sense. Now the next ban from JD is going to be the Leona, so they are going to remove at least one support in this phase. Makes sense not to, obviously Leona being a very strong engage heavy support, something that you'd expect one of the Damwon players to go towards. That being said, it's highly unlikely that we see a Leona come through, but as I say, it's a good pick to be removed off the board, especially alongside the fact that Senna gets removed off the board here by Damwon. So we're dropping quite low into the ADC pool here, as there's not too many strong picks left available, and that is going to be quite interesting when we get into Teamfight, because there's only realistically a couple of big picks like the Jhin, like the Kalista, because guess what was also removed in this phase that we're just getting into? The Ashe. So realistically, the top pool of ADCs has been cut. It's non-existent. Basically, only the sort of B-tier ADCs are available to these two teams. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams adapt to this change and what they go towards here. Now, I would honestly say that the draft so far is slightly favouring Damwon. Obviously, the damage output from the set and the Graves should be quite high. Galio not so much, he's there to be a tanky frontliner, so it's going to be intriguing to see how these two teams play around this and how they want to go through to end out this draft. So we're going to end out our drafts here. First pick for this second pick phase is going to be for Damwon, and they go with the Kalista. I like this pick. Obviously Kalista kind of encourages engagement and aggressive output in lane, and realistically it's going to be quite interesting to see how she uses the Fate's Call with her team, because obviously you can chuck that onto the set if he's in the support role, or chuck it onto the support, and realistically you've got two big options for who you use that ult on, and it's going to be, in my opinion, a very smart idea to put on your support and go with an aggressive support that cannot essentially get out of a fight. I mean, Rakan would work, Alistar would work, to an extent if you wanted to go full aggression and lane, go Sion and have that as your support. Even Shen would work as well. There's a lot of big aggressive supports available to you at the side here, and aggressive support would favour this Kalista heavily, because you cannot go realistically for an Enchantress support, because it's kind of weak when it gets chucked into a team with that Fate's Call. Now, last two picks from JD Gaming is a very interesting set, as there's a lot of combination here with the jungler of JD, as the Lily is getting a good friend in the MF, and also the Bard. And you're probably wondering, why is that so interesting? Well, MF's ult is residual damage. Essentially, when she opens up her bullet time, essentially, that damage just keeps going through. And why is that important? Well, essentially, Lily is lilting Lullaby puts people to sleep, and the residual damage from the MF ult does not wake up the target, meaning you just put someone to sleep, bullet time, all the damage coming through from that ultimate means it's gonna stick and there's no way to avoid it. That's why I love this pick, and especially when you combine it with the Tempered Fate from the Bard to lock them up initially. Then you land Swirl Seed or the Watch Out, or even your Q from the Lilia, put them to sleep. Bish Bash Bosh, that is an almost certain kill for this JD squad, so they've got a lot of good pick potential, especially with the Gold Card Destiny and the Hexset Ultimatum on this Camille. So I like this JD squad a hell of a lot more now, especially considering the sort of combinations they can go for as a lineup. Makes a lot of sense to me in comparison to how Damwon are ending this draft out. They've gone with the Alistar. Makes sense. Obviously you can use that ultimate to ignore the CC coming out from this JD squad, as well as using the Fate's Call Headbutt Pulverize combination to go in, knock someone back into your team, knock up the people around you, and basically win up a fight by getting a pick that way in a team fight. So realistically, we've got two kind of contradicting, that's the word I'm looking for, drafts, as you've got pick potential on the JD side, looking to isolate targets, kill them, and or lock up multiple targets and burst them out in a team fight. And then you have Damwon, which is a very heavy team fighting comp that has a bit of protection with the Galio. Gonna be intriguing to see how these two teams interact with each other in a team fight as we load up onto the Rift for this final game of Group, I think it's B. We kick off this play with Damwon starting up the Baron and JD trying to contest. MF and the crew step up and immediately uses the bullet time. While this is happening, Alistar's looking to Hex Flash over the wall behind the JD Gaming ADC in order to knock him into his team. Once Alistar initiates, Galio tries to come in with his hero's entrance onto 3 JD members. Now, the big thing here is he provides magical shielding to his Alistar. However, because MF goes into her stopwatch to avoid the onslaught of the Damwon Gaming squad as she's been thrown forward into them, and the other 2 JD Gaming members just step out of the heroic entrance's position, it means this will nets 0 crowd control. All it does is give a magical shield to the Alistar. And that is kind of a waste of the ability, in my opinion. You could obviously look to set it up, say, with some actual chain CC instead of just wasting it to provide a shield for the front line, which you could save for the latter part of the fight and use it a bit more effectively. What's more is Bard uses Tempered Fate onto the Baron just as Damwon Gaming turn to fight, essentially making the Bard ult useless, and as such it makes this fight a little more Damwon Gaming favoured, as the Tempered Fate could have been used onto the Galio as he initiated this fight to allow the JD Gaming team access to the backline without having any real threat of being CC'd up by this Galio, as Alistar had just used his combo onto the MF. MF comes out of status into the Damwon squad and is immediately shut down and killed off. The fight then becomes a little bit split as Graves chases down the Bard and the rest of the 2 teams decide to go out all guns blazing. Camille uses a hookshot to immediately go after the Callista and burst her out to even out the numbers in this fight. Camille then uses the Hexac Ultimatum to dodge the Fate's Call from the Callista, and as well as that, try and help the Lilia execute the set before she gets decimated. However, Set pops the haymaker and Galio gets the shutdown of the Lilia. Once this happens, it becomes a 3v2 in favour of Damwon, and the fight becomes a little more easier. Camille tries to even out the numbers by going with the hookshot onto the Set, as Galio pops a status to avoid that initial engage. Momentarily, the numbers are evened out, but from the side comes the Graves as he comes in to save the day for Damwon, as a double kill comes out for the Galio, but the ace is finished up as the Camille actually gets a triple kill in the end. And from this play, because the jungler was dead for Damwon, they only get the Cloud Drake, and JD Gaming save themselves the loss here as they're unable to start the Baron. And from this point onwards, JD Gaming actually are able to turn around this deficit and beat Damwon, which is an incredible thing to say, considering they were so far behind here. They lost the Cloud Soul, and in essence, they realistically should have lost this game. But in my opinion, the heroics coming out of the Camille in this game kept them in this and allowed them to come back. And if he didn't make this play, more than likely it would have been Baron and the Soul for Damwon, which more than likely would have cracked open the base of JD, and realistically the game would have been over from there. Now, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new around here if you want to, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.